When you're dealing with things on two levels, or maybe more, obviously, but we'll say two, duality is easier to grasp. And the physical is the physical world, the physical body, and then there's beyond the physical, meta, beyond.
Mm-hmm.
So beyond the physical, metaphysical, and then we have our intellect, which is still part of that physical world, and we prepare all that we can, and we think, okay, I'm going to be okay, but in the snap of their fingers, it is all taken away. Your ability to think, your intellect, your physical body's ability to do things, gone. And what's left? Well, whatever is left is beyond. And that's the spirit realm, or that other place. And when that comes in, there is no amount of preparation. It's very hard to do. You have to have training for this, or it can come in. And absolutely, I've watched it. This is no joke. The best laid plans, the best machinery, equipment, as you just said, suddenly begins failing on every turn, and the communications fail, and you're left with nothing. And you're dealing now with that other side, your own mortality, of what caused this. And there are preparations you can do. You learn the hard way, as you mentioned, the school of hard knocks. But you do learn, hopefully, and the next time you go forth, you follow those things. And if people say, oh, that's just superstition or ritual, or no, you'd have to be in my shoes to see that it is not. And that it is as important as taking a canteen of water, a few extra bullets for that gun, a spare tire.
Mm-hmm.
It is as important or more important. Because that tire, that gun, that phone, snap your fingers, and they won't work.
Mm.
And this is the power of the spirit of that other side. We've gone to sacred places, and we've had 5 batteries. We all had cell phones, 5 batteries for our camera. We all had cell phones. Everything was up and running. And within seconds of entering into the second attention, going into that zone, every battery was drained of power. Every cell phone screen now had like a big black dot in the middle of it. Wouldn't even work.
What?
And you realize if whatever weapons you have are completely pointless. Well, what do we do now? This makes no sense. And I've watched that on that TV show Ghost Adventures with Zach Baggins. They have their batteries charged. They go into this haunted location or whatever, and they don't have any batteries anymore. Or the camera's smashed. Or the batteries are still fully charged, but the camera won't work. It's until you have seen this in action, you just don't even believe it. So you learn to hedge your bets. You ask permission. You offer tobacco. You learn how to smudge down properly. Because not only is there danger going into that second attention state, that other place, the meta, the beyond, is also what you bring back. This is why astronauts are quarantined. What did you bring back from the moon or from space?
What follows?
Yeah, we didn't know this, we don't even know, so we need to watch you because of this very thing. Well, you need to dust off as you come back so that you do not bring these things back into your immediate physical environment to where they continue wreaking havoc on you. And one must never forget this because, like right now, let's just say yourself, you're a man of higher learning. You don't, you know what I mean, go out of your way to be spooky or overly superstitious and things. But
No.
at the same time, by just speaking with one such as me, by dealing with me, it's opened up portals, or what we would call the vortex, the chakra. It has awakened these things in you. And now, like they say, once you know, you can't go back. Once knowledge, unlike other things, well, I'll just uninstall this program or application, or I'll trade cars. That doesn't work in this case. Now you are in a new place. And you go, this makes no sense. Why is this happening? Well, you're no longer the same person, and the things that are about you are no longer the same. You have entered that other point. And I call that, I've said this for years, right? The warrior, the wizard, the priest. We all start out as the warrior. I'll go there. I'll do that. And before you had knowledge, you could do it. It was no problem. Your boldness seemed to be rewarded at times. Wow. But then as you grew, as these changes came into your being, both mentally, physically, spiritually, as those changes took place, you found suddenly that you're like a wizard. You're living in an altered universe, an altered state. Like, what's going on around me? This is so odd.
Completely.
Well, yes. And then as you discern this new state, you ascertain what it is, you explore it, you survive it, you grow. You then eventually grow into this wise one, the priest, the one who can really bring it all together, a focal point. The old one, the priest, used to be called the elder. This is why elders were respected. Before, elders were doped up on drugs and carted away to nursing homes and things.
Indeed.
And if you don't understand them, you may hate them, you may fear them. What the hell's wrong with him? Why is he always like that? Goddamn weirdo. Okay, this is a very Western or Caucasian or white logic. It isn't necessarily the best. It certainly isn't accepting. And dealing with the heyoka can be so much, it can be upsetting. But if you understand what the heyoka does and why they do it, and understand how to read them, just like someone speaking in fugue, in a hidden language, then that's where the sacredness comes out. This is why they're valued and not carted away and put it away in a home. And there's a mystical knowledge. They can tell you truths. They know things that no one else knows. And this is a lot like the elders. They have reached that state, similar state, that even though they're in their dotage, their old age, and a lot of the things they say is just rambling memories and things. But this is why respect for the elders is so critical. Now we're talking the proper elder, not one who has been abused, mocked, shot full of drugs, filled with fear. These poor people are not proper elders because they have not been properly dealt with. And so we're talking about a textbook elder, and it's also used in churches, like the Mormon Church calls people the elders, just like in the tribes. And so an elder has this knowledge like a heyoka. And somewhere in their ramblings, their memories, the things they say, that wizard, that other priest, that other warrior can discern, like, oh my, they're telling us something. Pay attention, it's real important. And it's coming through them from the meta, from beyond. But you see, in our society, that's like, that's just crazy rambling. Shoot them full of Thorazine again and give them some electric shocks, and let's hope it stops. You know, I mean, like a bad thing, in other words. But we don't see it as that in the native way. We see it, well, as a gift, you know. And so whether it's the Heyoka or the elder, they're both at the gate of the priest. And remind you, this is only my terms. There's maybe other terms or better terms, but we've often talked, you and I, about your own personal journey on how coming out here and things, you were initially the warrior, meaning you were brave. Even coming out here to see this wild man named Keating, you know.
I was terrified. But I said, I'm going to do this.
Yeah, but you did it. You see, there's been many times beyond this even that you were terrified, trapped in some lonely place in Mexico or in some horrid situation that you go, oh my, what did I do? You were the warrior there. There's no doubt about it. The scholarly warrior and the knight errant, and you did it. But you are slowly seeing yourself transform into this wizard, this one who says, I don't know why I did this, but I did, and I'm sure glad I did. And I think about things differently now. This is the wizard that is now there with his magic to help that brave warrior. You have opened that door.
True.
And we all follow this 1, 2, 3. Warrior, wizard, priest, you know. And there are different levels of understanding, or people can logic this out and say, well, this is like this, and this. Yes, and that's a nice way of encapsulating it for those of us in the physical universe. But it still doesn't get it. It's just a way of giving it a label that we can say, you know what I mean. I don't have words to tell you. And if I touch you, maybe I can share this, you'll know. And I do, and you do know. This is that wizard priest level. It's beyond the warrior. Well, usually when the warrior touches people, it's a calloused hand. Even if it isn't angry, it's a calloused hand, it's rough, it's heavy because of the nature of the warrior. But it isn't evil, it isn't mean, but it is a heavy, calloused hand of work and endeavor. And the wizard's hand is a little different. It's more like a feather, a wind. It is not heavy. And the priest hand is of the spirit. It is. And the priest is a Western word. I shouldn't use it, but it's because maybe some people will think, well, I knew a priest that we hear about the church priest they molest the children, they do something evil. And this is not that type. I just mean it's a person of higher, much higher spiritual values who has become awakened, self-actualized, and is now able, instead of just helping themselves, to help others.